Man, that's a lot of shrimp. Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Nathan and this is Sous Shrimp Readers. I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite tanks in my shrimp room today, and it's one that I haven't done a video on in quite a while. These shrimp used to be in a 33-gallon breeder tank, but I have decided to give them a giant upgrade, and that is my 75-gallon tank. When I moved these shrimp into this tank, I had about 20 shrimp total. I think it was around 12 males and 8 females. I wanted to go over a few of the things that I've done to this tank to make it so successful. And surprisingly, that is very little. I have not done a water change on this tank, and I want to say about 4 months. And I thought it was going to be problematic, but I kept seeing breeding in the tank, so I sort of left it alone. Now that I keep larger tanks for shrimp, I'm starting to understand now that the larger the tank, the less water changes I have to do. My larger tanks are actually doing better if I do less water changes. I think it's just due to better water stability. The pH of this tank is sitting about a 6.2. There is a GH of about 4 and a KH of about 1. I used to keep a lot of heaters in my shrimp tanks, and now that I've realized that shrimp for me do a lot better in cooler temperatures. My shrimp room usually sits around 68 degrees. Most of the tanks in this room sit about that temperature also. The plants I have in this tank are Rotala indica pink. I have some narrow-leaf Java fern. I have mostly Java moss in this tank with some Christmas moss possibly lingering around somewhere. For the floating plants, I think it's called Salvinia or something like that, but I really do like these a little bit more than the water lettuce that I did have in this tank before. If you enjoy shrimp and enjoy shrimp keeping, and you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, please subscribe and hit that like button. I'm going to be feeding my shrimp a couple of different foods today. One of them is my homemade shrimp food, and this one happens to be my spinach. One of my main tools that I use is called a Tds meter, or a meter that checks total dissolved solids. Now, if you're using straight RO water or reverse osmosis water, usually what you'll get when you have this water is something of a TDS of 0 to say 7 or 8. And that pretty much means that there's nothing in the water. When I do my top-ups, I always use this water. And this just ensures that I'm putting nothing else into the water because evaporation does happen on almost every tank. When I actually do a water change and not just a top-up, I will use shrimp salts. I have done a video on this before if you want to go back and check that out and don't know what I'm talking about. But for the most part, shrimp salts are just sort of the things that shrimp need to molt and survive better than they would in, say, tap water. They make these both for neocaridina and caridina shrimp. For me, I like to keep my TDS, or total dissolved solids, at about a 120 for caridina. And for the other shrimp salts that I use for my neocaridina, I like to keep those around 190 to 200. If you'll notice, a lot of the babies will sit on the outskirts of this food and not really get anywhere. The adults will go in there and sort of kick the babies out, and the babies for the most part can get into small areas of the tank that the adults can't, so they still get a lot of food. You'd be surprised the little tiny spaces those things can get into. The other food that I'm going to be using is called Snowflake Food, and I have an entire video on this food alone, and this is my #1 shrimp food. This food is good in so many ways. It doesn't decay in the tank, which means it doesn't build up the nitrates. And that's a good thing for shrimp, because shrimp do not like nitrates. But one of the most important things about this food is, if you'll notice that almost every single shrimp in this tank will grab a chunk of food and it will swim to a safe area where it can eat. This is one of the only foods that I feed where this can happen. So I think that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and once again, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. So I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and cheers.